Hey, so if you're a freelancer or thinking about doing any freelancing work, make sure to watch this video because I'm going to share with you 5 different ways that you can make more money. How to go from freelancing to paid lancing. Sorry. Hey guys, what's up? Pat here, and I'm here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And today we're talking with Charlie Marie, who's in the studio today, CharliMarieTV. Make sure to check out her YouTube channel. I was featured there recently. We also did another video right before this one about how to get started with freelancing too, so check out the links below for that. But today, we have her in the studio today because you are an expert freelancer, you help a lot of freelancers, and we're gonna help everybody who's watching today make more money. And there's many different ways to do that. What is one way that a person can and should, as a freelancer, help themselves to make more money?
Something that I always recommend people do is start building up their reputation and their brand right from the start.
Ooh,
as a freelancer.
I like this because you're not like just offer more services or we'll talk about some things. But I like, so tell me why we need to focus as a freelancer on our brand. How does that help us?
I think that building your brand as a creative or as a designer, as any type of freelance, helps you increase your reputation and just be known for your craft. So the more content you put out online where you're talking about your craft, about what you do.
So actually like blogging and you, I mean, you do this very well with your YouTube channel.
Yep. The more you talk about how you do what you do online, the more information you put out there and are teaching people, it helps you be seen as an expert, and it makes you more desirable for clients to want to hire you because they want to hire someone who knows this stuff, right?
Right. So are they going to find you through those channels, or how do you?
They might do, but I don't think that it necessarily has to be that. It doesn't mean you have to get famous with what you're doing. It just means that once someone comes across you and they come across your work, they're also going to see that you've got this reputation for being really good at what you do from the content you put out, from other people involving you on roundup lists of I'm on a lot of designers to follow on YouTube, that sort of thing. Yeah. The more they see of that, the more faith it's going to put in you, from the client, and the more they're going to want to.
I like that, and probably the higher price you can command as a result of being seen out there. I love that. All right, so next, what's another way a person as a freelancer can make more money or help themselves?
I think having a really good process is important. And having a good process that's clear, like you know how to start with a client, you know how to get the right brief from them, you know how to get feedback along the way, and it just makes it really smooth and easy, and the client enjoys working with you if you've got this process in place. It's going to make them more likely to return to you. And it's going to make them more likely to recommend you to their friends as well. If they really enjoyed working with you, if they felt like you were super professional, had a good process in place, they're going to be more confident.
So define for us what a good process is.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be different depending on the craft, but I would say thinking about the start, middle, and end. Like have that in your mind, what that means for you and in your business. So for design, that means the start is figuring out the brief, figuring out the exact problem I'm trying to solve with the design, and having that all written down and clear for both of us, myself and the client as well. Then there's the middle, having touch points along the way where you're going to be sharing your work for feedback so that the client knows where you're up to and what you're working on. They can provide feedback before things go too far down the wrong path. And then the end as well, wrapping things up in a super professional way with a great hander of assets. Don't just send them a zip file attached to an email. Think of other ways that you could make that process better for the client and more beneficial.
So making it like more of an experience.
Exactly, making it an experience.
And when people have a great experience, they're going to want to work with you again.
Exactly.
Which is a great point, because that's actually tip number 3 that we're going to talk about, is not just focusing on getting new clients all the time, which is sometimes very difficult to do, especially when you're just starting out, but serving the clients that you already have and getting rehired. Like you said, I mean, talk about a little bit about that sort of myth of just always having to have new people.
It's exhausting having to bring new people on board all the time, I think. They say in business, right, that it's cheaper to keep an existing customer than it is to go and find a new one. Yeah. And it's the same with freelancing. With a client you've already worked with, you already know their brand, their business a little bit more than you would with a new client. They already know how you work, you know how they like to work as well. So that makes that whole process easier. And if you've done well on that first project as well, they're going to trust you more. Right. And they're going to know your style and how to work with you. It's just going to be better.
So let's say you finish a project with somebody and it's great and you would love to work with that person again, and maybe they just don't have any new work to do. How do you come back to them later to perhaps see if there's additional work to do? Because I can see that, I could see you crossing a line at some point where it's just like every week you're going, hey, do you have anything new? Yeah. Like what's the best kind of rhythm for doing something like that?
I would recommend not even just thinking about the work, just thinking about building the relationship. So if, for example, like with you, they've worked on an ebook cover design or something like that, reaching out a couple weeks later being like, hey, how'd that launch go? Like, looks really great. I saw a lot of people being excited about it. Just touching base and reminding them that you exist, essentially.
Right. Not even really asking for anything?
Yeah, maybe not to start with. Maybe just keeping the relationship going. And then, reaching out a couple of weeks down the track, or however fast you know that their business moves because you've worked with them before, and seeing if there's anything new coming up. Perhaps you can ask specifically if you knew that when you were doing this project, you heard them mention that this thing was coming up. Offer your services as part of that. Yeah.
Nice. Now, from my perspective as a business owner and an online entrepreneur and internet marketer, I know that a great way to increase your sales and make money is through upselling. So at the time of purchase, offering additional things.
Yeah.
But I also know that there's a balance there, and at least in the space that I'm in, it often puts people off a lot. Is upselling even a thing in freelancing?
I think it is. This is something that I do. With every project proposal I put out, I do basically 3 tiers of the work that I can do.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So the first one is perhaps the base level of what I feel like is the basic work that could be done to meet their goal. And this is helpful if perhaps the client doesn't have a huge budget. Perhaps they can only go for that first version. At least there's a way you can still work with them if all the bells and whistles isn't going to work for their budget. The second option is usually, an extension of that basic needs. And then the third option that I do is usually something that perhaps the client hasn't asked for, but that I've seen from analyzing what they need and their problem as an additional service that I feel I could offer to their business.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how do you present that at the time that you're kind of working with this person and coming up with a contract?
I do a proposal document for every project that I work on that has these 3 tiers laid out, and I pitch it as ways that I can help you and ways we can work together. Pick which end product you want to end up with, and that's the price that we end up paying. It's not like they're paying extra for no extra work. They're getting a lot more value out of it too. And I usually try, like you'd do with products, make the value increase as you go up exponentially. So it kind of makes it's like a no-brainer for them to choose the more expensive one if they've got the budget.
I love it. Authentic upselling.
Yes.
And then finally, and this is the big one, an easy way to increase how much money you're making is to increase your price, right? And at least from what I know about a lot of freelancers who I've helped, they often underprice themselves. Yeah. So we had this thing called just double it. You could probably just double what you're doing right now, right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not always the case, but point being, most people undervalue what they have to offer. So how do you address price and increasing your price, or at least getting paid for what you know is worth?
Yeah, so I always recommend that freelancers don't do an hourly rate. I feel like that really boxes you in, and meaning that's your rate no matter what the client is, no matter what the project is, that's the rate you're going to be charged per hour.
Interesting. So
it's
not
really hard to come
hourly.
up from there. Yeah, I don't charge by hour, I charge by project instead. So I evaluate every project for its own needs and its own work that it's going to involve. Obviously the hourly time you're going to spend on it comes into that,
right.
But it also depends on the company. I charge more depending on what type of company I'm working with. And that doesn't mean that you just charge more if you think the company can afford it.
I was going to say, okay, so I'm going to work with a big company, therefore I can charge more because they have more money. That's not what you're saying.
Well, technically that's true, but I don't think that's the reason for you to increase your price there. I think you should increase your price based on the extra value that you're going to offer them. So, for example, if I'm going to do a project with Nike, not that I've worked with them before, but that would be nice. If I'm going to do a project with Nike to design, some advertising campaign for a new shoe versus a little mom and pop shop, shoe store down the road type thing, I can charge Nike a lot more because my work will be applied in many different ways with them. It's going to go out to many more people, and they've got higher margins as well on their products, so they can make more money from advertising it than perhaps the little store can.
Okay, I like that a lot, actually. So thinking about the actual value that you're providing is really important. How about competitor prices? Do you take that into account when trying to get some freelance work?
It's really hard to know what other freelancers charge sometimes, because this is something that we all keep very close to our chest. So I try and talk about it a lot more because I like, putting it out there and helping other creatives make sure they're not undervaluing themselves. But I think that you should first charge based on what you figure the project should be. I don't think that you should race to the bottom when it comes to freelancing. I think that's, you're not going to be able to earn more money that way. I think it's better to focus on what you do, focus on what you believe this is worth, and you might lose some clients, you might figure it out as you go along. But yeah.
Does the price that you charge kind of change the type of person you're serving, and how does that play a role in kind of who it is you're targeting?
I think so. I think, for example, if you're going to do a logo for a company that has a 5-year plan, that they're planning to grow versus just someone who wants to start a blog and they don't really know where they're going with it yet, you can't charge that person as much as you can charge the company because they don't, as the customer, quite know their value yet, whereas the company does.
So it's really important to know who it is you're ultimately serving.
Yeah, understand their business, understand what they're going to be using the design for.
And also, as a freelancer, I think it's cool because you basically have this blank canvas out there that you can paint, and you can paint it any which way you want. So if you want to work with high-end clients and charge a lot, then do that. You're going to not serve as many, but you can serve fewer in a better way, perhaps more white glove service kind of thing.
Yep.
Or if you want to do a more mass thing, you can charge less. I mean, I think it's really important for you to focus on what do you want too.
What kind of work do you want to be doing?
Yeah. I love this. A lot of great tips to help you make more money as a freelancer. Now make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because we got some more videos coming up related to your side hustle and your freelance work. We got Charlie featured in one more video coming up. And also, if you haven't seen the last one, make sure to click on the link below in the description where we talk about how to get started as a freelancer too. So thank you so much, and make sure to check out CharliMarieTV. Any final words for people who are just, they're going full force with freelancing, but they just want to make a little bit more money?
I think just have some confidence in yourself and your skills. Just do it. Double it, like you said.
Like it. I like it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next videos.
Bye.